Welcome to yet another session of MS Talks. Today, we are going to be talking about a very interesting initiative that we at MS Events are organizing called the Arab Green Summit, or TAGS, as we like to call it fondly. Climate change is defying nature's eternal principles and warming our planet. Nations are racing against time to reach the goals of Paris Climate Deal and transition to net zero by 2050. The deadline set to prevent the Earth from warming beyond 1.5 degrees Celsius by the turn of the century. Climate risk is arguably the greatest risk facing humanity. With UAE being selected to host the COP28 International Climate Conference in 2023, the doors have been opened for conversations around sustainability and climate change. The Arab Green Summit brings together the stakeholders across the Arab region to discuss and discover the latest practices and creative solutions while serving as a platform for climate champions to discuss, innovate, collaborate, and set the path for climate action through mitigation and adaptation. To have a conversation about the Arab Green Summit, today we have our conference chairman, Dr. Jagannathan Ramaswamy, who's a senior advisor for energy, sustainability, ESG, and climate action. Dr. Jagannathan is well known in the industry as an expert on the topics of energy, sustainability, and climate action, and has more than 25 years of professional experience in this domain. He specializes in providing strategic advices on sustainability and climate action, and further reinforces by designing and developing bespoke solutions to help stakeholders meet their goals and climate ambitions. Dr. Jagannathan, as sustainability head at Rakhiz, also helped design, develop, and administered major policy tools and regulations surrounding built environments, and has further achieved new heights in driving energy efficiency, green building code, and certification within the jurisdiction. He was also a part of the active working group which was involved with the 2040 Master Plan for the Emirates. Further, we have joining us Ms. Anne Marie Thodsen, who is the Managing Director at the Umbrella Institute and has a vast experience with ESG and CSR advisory. The Umbrella Institute provides strategic advice and long-term focused guidance to corporate entities of all shapes, sizes, and sectors. And they help companies engage when they are ready to adopt sustainability as a core part of their values, mission, and cultural mindset. Over to you, Dr. Jagannathan. Thank you.
Thanks, Pritka, for the excellent introduction. Hi, Anna. How are you? Very good afternoon.
I'm very good, and thank you for inviting me in today.
It's a pleasure talking to you, and thanks again for coming online. Let me start with a casual question. How did you find the Arab Green Summit? What's your first impression of that?
Well, I think that any platform that wants to discuss decarbonization and sustainability is excellent. And when we have something that really sees it in a GCC perspective, then it's very good because we can take up some of the discussions that are needed to be had. So I'm looking forward to see the first year of TAGS and also see who we can gather and how much education and knowledge we can share between each other.
Given that the Arab Green Summit, or the TAGS as we call fondly, is climate focused or climate themed one, how do you find the overall structure of the summit in terms of the agenda, the sectors, the segments that are included as part of it?
Well, it is a very important agenda overall. You and I have had discussions in our advisory sessions. And one of the things that I see is most important in this region is that we remember the people, because we're building these vast cities with high rises and lots of concrete and lots of technology. But in the end, it all comes down to we want to make well-being for the people who live here. But it interconnects, right? So we are building the best cities of tomorrow, and we have to make sure that this is really what the people need, and that this is also done in a sustainable way, so that we don't just build high-rises where no one can live.
I remember during our earlier conversation, you are an advocate of human aspect of the entire journey, like the behavioral aspect or the human component of the climate action. And I recall there's a structure, there is a themes surrounding that topic as part of tags. So just for the sake of viewers, how exactly you would like to position the human aspect in the journey of climate action?
So climate action, everything is, I said that over and over again, everything is interconnected, right? We live on this planet. There's people, there's animals, there's resources, and all of it comes together. And if we create a balance, then we have a sustainable future. Whereas if we cross over some of the planetary boundaries, we use too many resources, for instance, and have no way to replenish this, then we create this imbalance that creates problems on the long term. And we're also a planet where we have more and more people because we are creating a good environment, right? We're creating a place where companies can grow, where people can grow, and where cities are growing. But we're becoming more and more people, so the resource scarcity is being felt. We can see now that there's supply chain issues around the world. There's needs for minerals, for sand, for just many things that are becoming more and more scarce. And even some of the basic things that people need, like water and clean air, indoor and outdoor, these are things that we have to think into the way we build the cities of the future. And if we don't do that, then we don't build the cities of the future. That's the basic thing, right? So the people in the end is what we're building everything for, and that's why I keep coming back to this human aspect.
Okay. In your opinion, what are the specific challenges or barriers that UAE in particular face when it comes to climate action? Specific ones?
Well, I think many places face different challenges with climate action. I think in the UAE we are excellent at taking big strategic steps when we see there's a challenge. So companies are getting ready. And we also mentioned COP28. COP28 and COP27 that will come to Egypt. Those two are very good reasons for companies to start tackling problems and start seeing them coming closer to this region, because very often we hear climate change from an American perspective or European perspective, or we talk about it in Africa and India and Asia. But actually, if we don't talk about it here, then it doesn't really trickle down to the companies here. So both tags and COP28 are very good reasons to discuss climate action on a GCC and UAE level, and see how we can build partnerships and collaborate around some of these challenges that need to be solved.
You brought the right topic of COP27 and COP28. Of course, we had major announcements during COP26, and in my view, the most important was the fact that UAE committed to net zero by 2050. Yeah. And UAE is the host nation for COP28 as well. Now, given that background, how do you think climate-themed events such as tags would help the stakeholders and businesses and the nation in marching towards net zero and eventually delivering a clean, professional COP28?
Yeah. What we can use tags for is becoming a platform where we see that sustainability is not something we have to overcome, or that it's not a very expensive journey, but that we can actually showcase some of the companies that are taking sustainability journeys and making money at the same time. Because if we can make sustainability the same as profitability, then there is a way forward, right? We live in a region where we have to bring in all the resources. Around 90% of everything we buy on the shelves here in the UAE come from somewhere else. So we have to make sure that we educate everybody from top level down to the bottom level, that we have to think differently about the future. And that's what both COP and tags can really help with. And then we create opportunities for companies to realize that they can solve some of the global challenges that the SDGs, for instance, pose, and that there's business in this. It's not just NGOs doing good work, it's businesses solving global challenges, and that there's money to be had from this and jobs to be created.
A good reply. As part of tags, we have the Decarbonization and Climate Action Awards, which is equally sector focused and highly climate themed, which is resonating in line with the agenda. So what's your take on the award in the respect of its ability to make a difference in the region?
I think awards are always interesting because it makes companies and people strive towards something, right? So we want to achieve winning a specific award. That means we will do our best to meet the criteria for this. So the tougher we can set the criteria on these awards, the more the companies have to work to win it, right? And of course, there will be both internal in the companies competition around how do you communicate this to win it, and also what are our competitors and other sectors doing so that we can be better than them. To me, awards are really a way to make businesses better at what they're already doing, because they have to communicate it and they have to show what they're doing, right? So openly communicating. It's
good to hear that from you, given the fact that DACA has been crafted in a way that it is quite sector focused and quite clear in terms of the requirements and what exactly companies and businesses have to demonstrate in order to win the award.
Yeah.
You have been an advocate of human element, and we have also talked a lot about sustainability in paper and sustainability in performance, so ESG action and the ESG reporting and various topics around that. So based on your experience and expertise, what's going to be your approach when you when you participate and when you deliver a speech or be a part of the speakers panel in tags? What's going to be your narrative and how are you going to drive that philosophy across to the delegates?
Yeah, so everything we do at the Umbrella Institute is really about ensuring that companies find value in sustainable transformation, and that we are the ones closing the gaps for them, that we share information and insights so that they understand why it's valuable, and that we close some of the gaps where they don't know how to proceed. So hopefully I'll be able to share some insights with companies so that they have new ideas popping up about what to do, that we can share cases and best practices for what has been done around the world and also in this region. And overall, that we can show that sustainability isn't a costly thing, but that it's something that really creates both value, it creates engagement inside the company and with your stakeholders outside, and that you can use it to share what it is that's really the vision and mission long-term for the company. So yeah, overall, making sure that sustainability becomes a core part of all the businesses here in the UAE.
One last question. Tags is, of course, a climate-themed event with a lot of policies, technologies, and several aspects being part of it. Now, what would be your message to delegates, potential delegates, and viewers on tags as a platform for climate action? What sort of a message would you like to give now?
Yeah, I mean, you can use tags as a platform where you really explain what you're doing, right? Many times, the only place you can explain what you're doing is on your website or in your business brochures. But these days, we're not meeting as many people as we wanted to do. So when you can win an award, for instance, you can share it with your competitors or just your audience and say, this is what we've done. We won because we did X, Y, Z. And these are the steps that we will take in the coming years to be even better and still compete for the #1 space in carbon decarbonization or sustainability. So use it as a platform where you share something intimate with new stakeholders.
Anna, thank you. It was a pleasure speaking to you. Have a very good day.
Yeah, you too, Jagan.
Thank you so much for your time, Anne Marie and Dr. Jagan. It has been a very insightful session indeed. And we look forward to seeing you on site at the Arab Green Summit. Thank you so much. Take care.
Yeah,
thank you. Thank you. Good day.
Take care.